Hello everyone, thank you for joining our webinar today. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes to let anyone else join, and then we'll get started soon. Yeah, I think we'll get started here then. So yeah, thank you again for joining today. We're really lucky today. We've got a really good webinar with our colleagues from the business school. So my name's Adam. I'm a senior international recruitment officer here at the University of Greenwich. I look after students from the Americas and UK international as well. Just going to quickly go around the room and introduce ourselves. So yeah, I'll just pass over to Hannah now.
Hi everyone, lovely to see so many of you. I'm Helen McCormack, as most of you know, International Recruitment Manager, and I oversee all of Asia. I'll pass you over to our colleagues, Katie.
Morning, everybody. So my name is Katie Valentine. I am the Director of our Executive Business Centre within Greenwich Business School. And the Executive Business Centre, we will talk a little bit more in detail in the webinar, but it's where all of our MBA portfolio sit. And Rob.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm Rob Robson, and I'm the Associate Head of School for Student Success, also within the Executive Business Centre. So Katie and I work very closely together.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that. So just very quickly, how today is going to go. I'm going to pass over to Katie and Rob in a second, and they're going to go through the MBA opportunities we've got at Greenwich. And then myself and Helen will share some little updates on our April intake, January deadlines and registrations, and updates to our September scholarships as well. There is a Q&A. We'll do some questions after the MBA part and after sort of our international updates as well. But yeah, if you could just avoid asking any questions on specific cases and send them to your sort of regional representative. But yeah, I'll just pass over to Katie now.
Fantastic. Can I just check that you can see the screen?
Yep, we can see that, Katie.
Brilliant, thank you. So as we've already introduced ourselves, myself and Rob want to today spend some time talking through the MBA portfolio and a bit of background around the Executive Business Centre and just why that sets our MBA portfolio apart and the differences and attributes that the MBA portfolio has. Then we'll have a chance to talk about some of the employability support that we offer to our students before we take any questions. Helen and Adam are monitoring the chat as well, so if you have any questions as we go through, please drop them into the chat function or we can pick those up towards the end. So the Executive Business Centre is one of our 4 schools within Greenwich Business School. The Executive Business Centre was set up approximately 2 years ago now, and the real function and rationale behind that was that they wanted to create a school within the business school which was specifically industry focused. So really focusing on that connection that academia has with industry, and we were tasked with setting up CPD opportunities, offering upskilling training to industry colleagues, so managers and leaders who are working and wish to upskill. We were tasked with looking at knowledge exchange activities, so that's where we work really closely with industry and share the research that's been carried out in academia to ensure that there is real meaningful impact from that research for industry. And the knowledge exchange part means that it's 2 ways. So we're also taking knowledge and information and experiences that we gain from working with our industry colleagues and bringing that back into our learning and our curriculum as well. And I guess the reason I'm really telling you that is that to me is what sets Greenwich's MBA portfolio apart from other MBAs, is that we are set within a dedicated centre that looks at engaging with industry. It means that our MBA portfolio has been created around industry impact, and it also means that we have created the portfolio around ensuring that our students can leave us with real life work experience, but also the skills to put their learning into practice. So application of knowledge is really key for us, and we have changed the way in which we deliver some of our programmes as a result of that. We have a mixture of academics and practitioners who work within the Executive Business Centre. So when students come to us for an MBA programme, they can expect that they will hear not only from academic experts within the theory, but they will also get practitioner input and expertise as well. Myself and Rob are two examples of that. We both have an academic background, but we have also both worked in industry and in practice. So bridging that gap between industry and academia, which obviously is really key for an MBA programme. We want our students to go out, our graduates to go out and be able to implement those skills that they learned with us very quickly. We work closely with our professional bodies, so ACCA and CMI. Some of our programmes are dual accredited, and as I go through the programme structures, I will talk a little bit more on that in detail. The last thing that I want to pick up on in terms of what makes the MBAs at Greenwich different is around our delivery mode. So we have changed the way that we deliver now so that all of our programmes are delivered through a blended learning approach. What that means is that students are given the knowledge and the information up front. We do that through a variety of small lectures online that are pre-recorded, and perhaps webinars that are online. And then it means that when students come into the class, they come into 2-hour tutorials and they can really talk about implementing that knowledge that they've learned. So there's no more a passive learning experience with us. Everything becomes very engaging, and the students have a chance to talk through case studies, examples, and really think about how the knowledge that they learn online, how they put that into practice when they're within a group situation. I'm going to pause there. Rob has been very key in implementing this blended learning approach. We have just had our first term feedback from the students after the rollout of this approach, and we've got some really good feedback that has come back through our student survey as a result of that. And I'm going to bring in Rob just to give a little bit more detail on the rationale behind that and also some of the positive student feedback we've heard today. Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Yeah, we've been really encouraged actually, because every time you start with a new program, there are always challenges, aren't there? But this wasn't only a new program, it was a whole process, as Katie said, of reinventing the teaching approach so that application of knowledge became very much foregrounded. And I think it's really important because with our MBA Global, we're talking about people who may not have had prior education in terms of business degree, perhaps at first degree level. They only have 1 to 2 years work experience, not at a managerial level. It can be very difficult to take dry theory and it mean anything. So essentially people learn things, they get the qualification, they leave, and then maybe later on they think about maybe applying it in some way. Well, we wanted to move beyond that and say, well, look, let's create a platform where you'll get a chance to explore your career ideas, even if you haven't got them firmed up yet, to draw on what you have done, to be able to make links, to be able to make connections. And the only way that we could really do that is by saying, well, rather than go for this traditional lecture format, where you've got maybe a few hundred people crammed into a space, it comes, it goes. People may remember some of it, maybe not remember much of it. And then we try and deal with it in the tutorial, or maybe repeat half the lecture, which is often an experience in academia. We wanted to move away totally from that and said, well, look, let's put a lot of the information on videos, as Katie said, that are easily accessible, can be watched again and again and again, will be of high standard, and will cover complex concepts. And then in the tutorial, we can draw on that material and we can start to talk to people about how they might apply that. What situations are they in? More time to get individuals to personalize their learning and to link to some of that material. So that was our whole thinking behind it. The other thing to remember, of course, is that because, as Katie said, a lot of our lecturers have this co-academic come industry experience element to their teaching. It means that even when they create the videos, they can include real practical examples, real situations that they've experienced or their colleagues have experienced. And then in the 2-hour tutorials, we have the benefit, because we have so many industry links, of being a little bit more creative. We can sometimes say to some of our partners we've been working with, well, could you come in? Could you do as a little session? Or could you do as a blog or a video? Just something that we can either upload or that you can present live that will enrich the learning experience for students. So that combination, we feel, works really, really well. The other thing I would say is that it provides an opportunity for transferable skills, not just skills within industry, but personal skills, because very interactive, very facilitative is the style that we adopt. So students are learning a lot more hands-on group work, a lot more presentation skills in every single tutorial than they perhaps ordinarily would have done. And just finally then, going back to some of that feedback, we've just got our first student evaluations through from the first term, when this was the first term that MBA Global has run. And the feedback was really, really positive. Students enjoyed the fact that they've got these 2-hour tutorials, the fact that they can build bonds together, that they can work in groups and they can develop contacts, and they feel a lot more comfortable with that, rather than perhaps sitting in that lecture theatre and not really interacting perhaps with everyone around them. More chance for getting to know people, create bonds, which is important if you're in a new country and you're trying to make those contacts or natural insecurities. That went down well. But also the videos, very positive comments about the videos in terms of the quality, the fact that they were very clear, the fact that they could be watched again and again. Obviously, we have feedback on areas that we could improve, and we look to do that. But generally, I would say we were very impressed with the information that we had. And just a bit of background on that. We take that very seriously. We don't just sit in a room and knock out a video. We actually do a lot of planning for it. So we have an editing process. We have a process of making sure that the material that we use fits nicely in and links to the tutorial as well, so we're not repeating ourselves, but we can repeat if we need to. So the whole process takes a lot of work, and it's ongoing. And we're evaluating it all the time. We're looking at new vehicles of presenting information, but students have appreciated the quality of the videos. They've appreciated the 2-hour tutorial time that they get. They've appreciated the link between the two. And perhaps just finally, a thing we don't always think about, rapport. They've appreciated the fact that their tutors appear to be taking a little bit more interest in them. And that's because they have more time to discuss with them, not only within the 2-hour tutorial, perhaps on a one-to-one as well, about their personal aspirations. So the whole package for a first term cut has worked really well. We want to build on it, but for now, it's a positive sign. It's a model that we fully believe in, and it's a model that is a real sellable factor in terms of what differentiates what we do compared to what many others in the industry are doing at the present time. So that's a nice little overview. We could talk a lot more, and in the Q&A, if you've got questions, happy to answer them. So Katie, back to you.
Fantastic, thanks Rob. And that's something, that networking and that building of rapport is really, really important in terms of future career aspirations for our students. One thing that is worth just making very obvious, in case it's not been, this does now mean that we have no large-scale lectures anymore in our MBA programme. So everything is run through a tutorial basis, which means that you are, although you're on a large programme, Greenwich's MBA programmes are large programmes, you are feeling as though you're a part of a smaller, more intimate group of 25 to 30 students. You're being able to build those relationships with those students and also with your tutors, because ultimately you're getting more time with our academics as a result of this delivery method. So there's also been a change to the portfolio in general in terms of what we're offering. So Rob mentioned MBA Global there when he was talking. We delivered our new MBA Global from September, so that was a brand new programme structure that came out. I will go through all the programme structures in a moment. I also am going to share these slides with Adam and Helen, and they can share those out because there's a lot of detail in terms of the modules that we'll be able to look at a later date as well. When we looked at the new programme design around MBA Global, at the same time we looked at the wider portfolio, so our specialist MBAs and then our executive MBAs as well. So we now have a programme portfolio that is right for early career. So as Rob mentioned, students who are coming on to MBA Global, we expect them to either be pre-experienced, so they have an undergraduate, they're looking for a master's qualification, or they have, you know, a couple of years of industry experience, but they don't have that management level experience. We then have our middle manager level, which is the executive MBA full-time. And those individuals, we can expect that they will have had a couple of years at management level. And then we have our senior leader offering, which is executive MBA part-time. Now that is generally only for home students because of visa issues, but obviously something that you can pick up in a conversation with Adam or Helen should you wish to as well. So we now have an early career, a middle manager and a senior leader level. As I go through each of the programs, you'll see where those are. All of our early career programs offer a placement opportunity. So whether that be MBA Global, which is our standard broad brush business management MBA, or whether that be our specialist MBAs in marketing or finance, all of those are offered as either a one-year program, straight MBA, or a two-year program, which offers the MBA plus year 2 as placement. Now, we took that option because we realised that a lot of the students who were coming in at that early career stage perhaps didn't have the work experience behind them. So offering to support them with a placement opportunity allows us to help build their employability skills even further during the time that they're with us. So the MBA Global, as we spoke about, we have that offering of a one-year programme or a two-year with placement, blended learning delivery. We have intakes for that across September, January and April. All of our MBA delivery when it is on campus is on our Greenwich campus. We are based up at the top of the Greenwich campus, and in the next couple of years we will have the lovely shiny new business school that our students will be invited to come and join us in as well. So that is also staying on the Greenwich campus. The MBA Global programme has the opportunity to be dual accredited with the CMI Level 7 Diploma in Strategic Management and Leadership. CMI is the professional body for management and leadership. So they have dual accredited our programme. Students then have the option to opt into that dual accreditation. So it would be an additional payment that they would make to CMI for the qualification. It means that it is much cheaper. So it's a £200 top up to get that qualification versus multiple thousands that it would be to work through that with CMI. So it's a very good value for money for them to choose that top up. As I said, I have all the modules. I will not go through all of these. I will let you have a look at those in the presentation when you get it at a later date. But you'll see from Global, it is very much the business management wide knowledge that you would expect from an MBA. So looking at all those core subjects around management, finance, people, marketing, operations, etc. Placement option, same for all of our placement programs, that we finish with our one-year program and then we move on to year 2 having the placement. During that placement year, you would also continue your business consultancy project. So that spans years 1 and 2 for any program that has a placement. And that consultancy project is another example of how we ensure that we have real life learning for our students. So we would have a local employer work with one of our academics to look at a potential problem, challenge that they were facing within their workplace, and then students work within a group situation to address that, look at all of the skills that they've learned throughout their MBA, putting those into practice to solve that problem and offer solutions for that business. That obviously means that they are learning to implement their skills, they're learning their experience, but it also means that they are learning those transferable skills in terms of how to work with industry, and they're also gaining these industry insights in terms of networking with externals from the university as well. MBA marketing follows a similar setup as what Global does, but you will see that whilst there are some core MBA modules in terms of business and management, there are a specialist range of marketing modules. So again, this programme very much for early career, but somebody who wants to specialist within a marketing environment. MBA Finance, again, follows a similar format. MBA Finance is accredited by the CFA. So we have an ESG and investing certificate, which students will achieve in addition to their MBA qualification. And they also can apply for exemptions for the financial management module for their ACCA qualification. So 2 dual accreditations that they would automatically be entitled to, no top-up fee for that at all. Similar to MBA Marketing Management, MBA Finance now has a core business management curriculum with the addition of finance specialists on top of that. Your consultancy projects for both marketing and finance are within a marketing or finance environment. Similarly, your placement opportunity for those programs are within a marketing or finance environment, so that again, everything has been funneled to that particular sector. The last one that I'll talk in depth with before I pass back and look at any Q&As is the Executive MBA full-time. So this programme was paused for a year and it is due to restart in September. So similar to our MBA Global, we have redesigned the curriculum for this programme. We have redesigned the delivery method for this programme so that it is refreshed and it's really ready for current working environment in terms of the skills that individuals need when they're graduating. It is a one-year full-time programme and it is for experienced graduates. So we are expecting that people have management level experience when they're coming into this. We do expect it to be a largely international cohort with some home students in there as well. A minimum of 2 years management experience we'd be looking for that. We have intakes in September and January, and students who apply for the Executive MBA full-time will automatically achieve the CMI Level 7 Diploma in Strategic Management and Leadership. When we look at the curriculum for this, it is similar in terms of it gives you that wide, broad brush business management understanding, but it really heightens it. So it assumes that people that are coming into this programme have a baseline understanding of some of the key concepts of business management because they've already been working in that environment, which means that we are focusing even further on how you apply the theory into practice at this point. Again, the consultancy project is there so that there is opportunities to engage with local community and with businesses within London. We also have a simulated learning project. So that works towards the end of the MBA journey, again, where we are taking all of the learning from the various modules, putting those into practice so that students can try out some of the new tools, techniques that they have learnt throughout their journey in that safe environment of simulation before then the next step of taking it into the business consultancy project. There is an Executive MBA part-time, which I mentioned at the start. I will not spend long talking about that. Again, any questions, please do ask us about that. The final thing I want to touch on is employability support. So we've mentioned the fact that we have placement opportunities for any of our early career MBAs. The placement team is a dedicated MBA placement team. They sit within the business school. They work very closely with myself, Rob, and the wider team within the Executive Business Centre. They are there from induction. So we had induction last week for our January starts, and the placement team were there talking about placements from day one. So placements become a really key, core, important part of the programme if you're taking that option. And we start having those conversations right at the beginning. We continue having those throughout the first year, because although we're talking about going out and finding a placement, actually it's all the wraparound transferable skills, employability skills that are really key there and that we're trying to build within the students so that when they go out onto their placement, they are confident in how they're engaging, they're confident in building those networks, they're confident in how they're applying those skills. So placement support from day one, the whole way through year one in terms of what type of placement you're looking for, how you'd approach those placements. And then during year two, they're obviously there to support, mentor if there are any concerns in the placement, they can support with that. They're also there in terms of the monitoring of the placement and making sure that everything is okay, working closely with the team, academic tutors, feeding back any concerns. So a real wraparound support in terms of placement. They tie in very closely with our employability support as well, and actually really nicely, the placement team and the employability team actually sit next to each other within the business school. So there's lots of conversations that go back and forth there around how they can support the students. So employability team, again, throughout the whole journey that the students are with us on the MBA, looking at how they can help with things as basic as a career job search, helping with CV, helping with upskilling, but also career planning as well. So looking at long-term aspirations and thinking about the steps that we need to take in order to meet those. There is a real focus around professional development within the curriculum, and what we spent some time talking about at the beginning of the session around that blended learning delivery really allows us to do that. So when we have more time with the students in tutorials, we can focus on building that rapport between our academics and our students, and really thinking about next steps in people's career. And we do that through a number of different professional development opportunities. We've obviously mentioned the strong links that we have with industry. We have some fantastic students, and we always encourage them to really make the most of those links. We had a recent event where we had MBA students come and support the event. We had students who came in and were guests at the event. We had other students who were helping in terms of facilitating the event, people who were on their placement and helping actually as part of their student ambassador role. So there's lots of different ways that students were involved in that particular conference and event that we recently ran. And what was really nice to see at that point was those students taking all of the networking opportunities that were available to them. So they were going up and they were having LinkedIn contacts with local MPs and politicians that were at this event, with guest speakers from industry, and they were really taking the most of all those opportunities. And that's something that we will continue to encourage throughout the time with us. And then the final thing that I want to talk to you about on employability was the entrepreneurial support. So a lot of our academics have a very entrepreneurial mindset and approach to how they deliver. A lot of research within the Executive Business Centre on entrepreneurial skills. And we also support our students through the Generator, which is our hub for entrepreneurship within the university. So whether that be taking part in hacks with organisations like Amazon Web Services or Meta, which recently happened, or whether it be looking at self-employment as an opportunity post-graduation, or how you engage with local SMEs. So looking at all the different opportunities that there are available for employability afterwards, rather than just assuming that that is a private sector exit and then into a more traditional role. We look at public sector, private sector, self-employment, all different frames in terms of the different careers and options that are available to students following their graduation with us. Happy again to talk about any of those in more detail should you wish to. I will pause there, and happily myself and Rob will take any questions that there might be. Helen, I've not had a chance to see the chat. Is there anything in there?
No, there's not really. There's more general ones for us later, so don't worry. But I have a few questions. So many things. I think it's such an exciting time, the way in which we have changed, and I think that's from feedback that you've had probably. So it is an exciting time that all these have changed. I think for years we've just been known for the MBA International Business, and I think it's such an exciting time to be having these different opportunities for the students. What challenges have you had students? Do you find them more comfortable with the tutor groups? I'm assuming feeling more freeing to talk, and so just a bit more information on that. Yeah. Really, are you seeing the benefits?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you think that, you know, in a large lecture theatre, if you are a student coming into that environment, especially if you are a student who is perhaps not from the UK or not even from London, it's an unfamiliar environment. You're coming over, you maybe don't know anybody else in that room, and you've got hundreds of people. The idea of putting your hand up at that point and contributing is really daunting. And what we're seeing in the smaller groups is that people are building a rapport and network around them, around those kind of 25, 30 students much quicker than what they would have done previously. But also they're more confident in putting their hand up, they're more confident in speaking out and asking questions, asking for clarification. The online materials also mean that there is an option to pick up with a tutor if there's anything online that you're unsure of. So whereas that might have been in a lecture theatre that information was being delivered previously, because it's now recorded, you can go back over, you can view the recording again. So if you maybe didn't pick it up the first time, you can go back and look at that again. But you can also then drop a note to the tutor, the academic, and say, I still don't really understand this. Can you spend a bit more time on that? And they can spend some dedicated time within the tutorial or even during office hours in a one-to-one with the student picking up on those questions. So absolutely, I think what we're seeing, and I'm sure Rob might have some more to add, but we're seeing that students are more active in terms of speaking out and participating. They're building stronger bonds quicker. And actually, in terms of pass rates, those are going up as well, because clarification of questions and theory can be carried out in a number of different channels now. Rob, do you want to add anything else to Helen's point?
Yeah, I think that's really comprehensively covered, because there's so many benefits there. In Helen, in answer to your question, I mean, going back to the student evaluations as an example, it's obviously the first term that we've had an evaluation for all of those modules, which includes most of them are actually on global. So when we think about the results, we're always looking for a score 4 or above, in the way that it's structured. And we've got an average well above 4, and it's a higher average percentage than it was last year. In fact, it's the highest we've ever had, and that's using that new model. And I think that's not a coincidence, because I think all the things that Katie's covered have actually come into play. Because I did find that with a lot of students, and coming back to this idea of confidence, people do come in and they're not confident, are they? You know, they may think that they're confident, or they may act as if they're confident, but they're actually not. You notice that induction when you see who groups with who, or who doesn't group with anyone. And of course, that can actually be a retention problem. Some people get disillusioned, they can't make friends, they may have problems in their accommodation. There are all kinds of issues that affect their learning. And then if they feel they're struggling with the material, that's another big no-no, isn't it? And I mean, we've looked at some of those lecture experiences, and students just look like they're in a kind of, in the headlights kind of thing. They don't understand what's being said. It's noisy. There are too many people. They don't get a repeat opportunity. Now they do. And that's such a big thing. They can go back to that video as many times as they like. I mean, for example, if I've done a video and someone comes back and says, "Oh, Rob, what did you mean by that point?" I can explain exactly what I meant to, overcome any misunderstandings. And students are doing that. They're becoming a lot more social. And I think that's the thing about Greenwich campus as well. We're always trying to encourage more of a campus feel, aren't we? And because it's a lot of people coming in on a day and then going again, but they're international students, we want them to have more of an experience in that way. So the more they can make those team bonds, the better. And that 2-hour tutorial allows that. The whole structure allows that. I mean, it's not perfect because we're developing it all the time, but we're noticing these tangible improvements. So yeah, I mean, you used the word exciting, Helen. I think it is, because for us, it's the departure, not just for Greenwich, but really, I mean, we don't see too much of this in the sector quite the way that we're doing it. And we've got that base as being in the executive business centre, feeding all this external knowledge in as well. Yeah, so far so good.
It just sounds so exciting. I do have a few more questions that have come up. One about work experience. Is work experience required? So if you could just go over that, Kate. Is it required? Is it not? What kind of background?
Yep, so it would depend on what level you were applying for. So that early career tier, so the MBA Global, MBA Marketing, MBA Finance, then you need an undergraduate qualification, no work experience. So we would look at people with no work experience at that point. We would probably encourage those with no work experience to apply for the placement option for those, because it builds obviously the work experience with the MBA at the same time. So that'd be a really nice package to then exit with, to go and look for your next role. So yes, we can take people with no work experience. It would be MBA Global. If you had experience, so if you had a couple of years experience, then we'd be looking to move you into the executive part-time MBA. And really the reason for that is that the conversations that somebody with a couple of years experience, especially if they've got some management experience, is very different that they're going to have in class versus those without that experience, where we are looking much more at the fundamentals and the building blocks. Those with a couple of years experience would be on the executive. We can almost assume a baseline knowledge of business and management at that point, and then we're really looking at how you heighten the theoretical knowledge even more and put that into practice.
And just quick, it's 22,000 for the MBA with placement, and that covers both years. It's not 22,000 and another 22,000. So for a London university, I think the price is so good and so like what it needs to be. So it's a brilliant opportunity. We haven't increased it. We could have gone even higher to compete with other universities, but I think we've made a conscious effort to make it more competitive and make it able for students to apply for. So I think that's something you've done.
Absolutely. So we're 22,000 for the 2 years, so 22,000 in total. It is 20,000 for the non-placement from September next year. That is September this year. It's January, September 25 apprentices. So that extra 2,000, all of that placement support I was talking about in year one, plus the placement in year two. So when we were pricing, I was thinking it was very good value for money in terms of the best value for money that we can offer students to give them a really good programme, but still be competitive in the market as well.
Another question's just come up. Degree backgrounds. For example, the MBA Global, you can accept, I assume, from all degree backgrounds. However, with the MBA Marketing, with the MBA Finance, would you rather a marketing and finance background? What kind of degree backgrounds are you looking for these programs?
So global, absolutely any degree background, and quite often an MBA is used as that opportunity to pivot. So maybe you did an engineering undergraduate and you want to move into management roles. So an MBA is what allows you to do that. So we have that understanding that people have the academic ability in terms of the undergraduate, but there is no assumption of business knowledge at that point for MBA Global. So absolutely any background. MBA Marketing or Finance, if we are sifting applicants, those that have a marketing or finance background would get sifted higher, because they would be able to they'll be able to pick up that much quicker within the class, because there are some complex, especially for finance, there are some complex subject areas there. However, it is not an entry requirement. So when you are applying, if you're able to demonstrate that you have a real passion for that area, that that's where you want your career to go in the future, then absolutely we consider non-finance, non-marketing backgrounds as well.
Brilliant. Adam, did I miss any other questions regarding the MBA?
No, I don't think so. I think the rest are just for us
Generals
to handle after. Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, thank you, Katie and Robert, because I think it's so important. We know how popular our MBA programs are at Greenwich, so I think it's an exciting time where we're constantly developing that. So thank you for telling us more about it. If you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay, Katie and Robert, for the updates, but I'm sure you're both very busy. But I'll pass over to Adam to do some general updates. But again, thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Robert.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again for that. That was really interesting, particularly the teaching style, learning experience stuff. I was taking notes, so I'm sure everyone else was as well. So yeah, just some updates from us then. The April 25 intake is open on VAS on the agent portal. So we have 4 courses there. We've got the International Business MA, International Business with Placement, and then, like we've already said today, the Global MBA and the Global MBA with Placement as well. We're just working on our sort of scholarships, so they'll be confirmed very soon. But yeah, just to be aware that those intakes are running. So yeah, January 2025 deadlines. So the courses have started, teaching has started as well. So those latest registrations, latest arrival date would be the end of the month on the 31st. So yeah, just being aware of that. We are getting towards sort of, the important time. So yeah, just being aware of that. For students that haven't registered yet, it's really, really important that they're engaging with the online registration. So they should have access to sort of the university portals. If they've not received that, they can get in touch with the IT team either via email or over the phone. But yeah, it's really helpful if they can be completing their online registration as soon as they've got their CAS and before they've arrived in the UK, if they haven't already. So we do have some updates on our scholarships for September 2025. So we're offering an early confirmation scholarship this year. And this is for students that have an offer and meet the deposit deadlines by the 15th of March. So they'll need to be paying their deposit through Convera and yeah, have a place for September 25. I think they're really, it's a really good package. So for undergraduate students, it's looking at £8,000 in total. That's £4,000 off the cost of tuition in year 1, and then £2,000 off the cost of tuition in years 2 and 3. and then it's 4,000 for postgraduate students. This will be like an automatic scholarship as well, so they don't need to submit anything for that. We just need to see that deposit payment coming through before the 15th of March. There will be further scholarships that we'll be announcing towards the end of February or early March for students that missed that, but I would really encourage you to sort of push any students that you have got towards this scholarship. I think it's a very sort of generous package, and an easy one to get as well. So yeah, definitely be encouraging your students to look at that. Sure, you already know this, but just a reminder of who your sort of IROs are for any specific questions to do with your regions or your students. So for Southeast Asia and China, you've got Amy. India, Nepal and Sri Lanka, it's Prerna. Helen's Central Asia. We have Natasha, who looks after Europe. Middle East and North Africa is looked after by Salima. Maggie looks after Africa. Tierney looks after Bangladesh and Pakistan. And I look after Americas and UK International. I don't think there was anything else that we sort of needed to share. Helen, feel free to jump in if I've missed anything.
I think just if you could go back to the scholarships one, Adam. I'm sure there's lots of people on this call, on this webinar, that have worked with the University of Greenwich for a number of years. This is by far the best scholarship that we've ever offered out to our students. As I said, it's automatic. So I think, for example, take this opportunity, please share it. We're not sure what we'll be able to do after the 15th of March. So this is a real thing that we would recommend that you push towards all your students. Just making sure, confirming that 8,000 is for the 4,000 for the first year, as Adam said, and then 2 years following. If they start from year 2, so they're direct entry, it will be 4,000 on that first year, and then 2 years, 2,000 on the second year. And if they're doing direct entry to year 3, it would be the 4,000. It is a brilliant opportunity. So please, this is available to all countries, all markets. It is literally, it's hot off the press. So those on the webinar, this is the first. We're updating you, so quick, get out to your students. We will be notifying all of the students. We will be sending out emails. If you're unsure of anything, please reach out to your recruitment officers, but the deadline is the 15th of March. Payments before and on the 15th of March. If it's the 16th of March, then no. 17th of March, no. But 15th of March, they have to have paid the deposit. If they show us evidence that they've paid that deposit, we will accept that. But they need to show that they've paid the deposit before the 15th of March. So I think this is such an exciting time, an opportunity. So please take this. Yes, as I mentioned, all markets. India, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Vietnam, America, it's available to everyone as long as they pay that deposit. If they are being sponsored, we will accept sponsor letters, and you just need to either update that on VAS that they are being sponsored and their official sponsor letter, then we can accept that. But yeah, I think that's it. There are a few questions in the chat. Regarding deposits and everything, as you know, it's a £3,000 deposit. So that's deposit to then be invited to cash yield. There are other markets that we do ask for more money in order to release the CAS. You should know that by now. It's more India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Ghana. But again, that's on the website, or if not, reach out to your recruitment officer, and that's in order to release the CAS. We're not going to be combining the early bird scholarship really with any other scholarships because this is super high. So you get the early bird scholarship, you won't then be able to apply for the International Scholarship Award on top of this, because these are already very big scholarships that we're offering, so you won't be able to combine them at the moment. Yes, we was saying that so you may have spoken to recruitment officers previously that we said we would combine it, but that was when we wasn't offering such big high scholarships. because we've increased that. If students have already paid the deposit, we will honour those. So it's not from the 16th of January to the 15th of March. So we will honour those that you've already pushed to pay a deposit. They will also get this scholarship. To receive the scholarship, no, you don't need to. You need to pay the deposit, but you don't need to pay the full amount in order to get this scholarship. It's just the deposit of £3,000. If it's a £1,000 deposit, no, it's a £3,000 deposit in order to get this brilliant opportunity. April deadlines, someone's mentioned. We haven't actually got the deadlines for April, so it's all go, go, go. This early confirmation does not, this is only for September, this scholarship. We will confirm scholarships in the next 2 weeks regarding that April intake. So this early confirmation scholarship is only for September, September 25. This does not include April intake. Someone's mentioned, I won't go all into individual English requirements, and please reach out, obviously for India, please reach out to Prerna or Anurag or Sherin. You'll have those contact details. I think we went over refunds. If you, again, the deposit is technically non-refundable unless a visa is being refused or you don't meet the entry requirements, or we say we're not going to issue you with a CAS. For some reason, whether students don't pass the compliance interview. Again, just put that request in the form. There is obviously slight delays, unfortunately, because we have to do registration, but again, reach out to your recruitment officer. You would still, so what happens is with the scholarships, you would need to pay, say £3,000, you would then take that, deduct all your scholarships as well, as way from the total, and then it would be 50% of the remaining balance that you would have to pay. So say the tuition fee is, oh God, my maths is not going to be great, 22,000, you pay, you've got a 4,000 scholarship, that would be £18,000. You paid and then you pay 50% of that remaining, that £18,000. And then obviously you would have already paid £3,000. Again, if you're not sure about anything, please reach out to your recruitment. Yes, thank you. Mandatory, yes, I want you all to be paying via Convera, everyone. No one should be sending out our payment details. If we find out you are, there will be delays. No one should be paying via direct accounts. It should only be by Convera. If you have an issue with Convera, there are certain markets that you can't. Please reach out to the recruitment officer or finance team, and they will provide you with the bank details. But if we find out that agents are sharing our bank details, we will be contacting you and reaching out. It is only via Convera. Convera. I can't stress that enough. That's it, unfortunately. I'm just reading a few things. If anyone else has any more questions, please reach out. Or with regards to grading and everything, I wouldn't be able to confirm because it would be down to faculties and they do their own grading systems. But if you want to reach out to, I think you mentioned reach out to your recruitment officer if you have any specific queries, and we can always reach out to program leaders or go back to, for example, Katie and ask there. We are looking at the moment, third class, not always. However, we are looking into that. Always submit the application and we can always ask. No, as I said, it is Convera, not Cohort Go, not Flywire, it is Convera. that is the only way that you should be recommending and suggesting to your students to pay. I think that's it. Adam, have you got any other question? Like, see anything else or?
No, I think we've covered everything in the chat. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. We will share this presentation. But as I said, you're the first ones really hearing about the scholarships. So please go and share that. And it's 15th of March. As I said, April intake scholarships will be the next 2 weeks. So watch your space, recruitment officers, and you'll get an email. But thanks, everyone.